Welcome to the Bourbon Jerk. Thanks for your click. So there have literally never been more bourbon brands than there are right now. So many different labels available at local stores and online retailers. An insane amount of choices. Now that we're most of the way through 2024, I've noticed some trends on which brands I've been buying and which brands I've been avoiding. You might say that certain brands have seen their stock rise and some others have seen their stock fall. Well, others have just been kind of holding steady. Let's talk about my bourbon brand stock report for 2024. First, let's talk about Maker's Mark. Over the last 5 years or so, I collected almost all of the wood finishing series bottles. I also landed this limited edition cellar age 2023, which I thought was a little bit of a letdown. Anyhow, since they wrapped up their wood finishing series last year, in 2024 they announced more wood finishing series? Come on. Where's the imagination here? There's no creativity. None of the bottles that they put out this year piqued my interest, though I did hear that they were okay. I didn't buy a single bottle of Maker's Mark this year, and for that reason, I'm going to say that their stock falling. I started off the year with a video naming brands that I was looking for in 2024. Still Austin was at the top of that list. This year I picked up both the blue corn bottled and bond and the red corn bottled and bond, the cask strength rye, a single barrel pick of the cask strength bourbon, which are some of my absolute favorite bottles this year. No question, for me, their stock is trending way up. JT Mellick was also on that list that I made, and I did pick up a bottle of their high proof small batch, and I do really like it. But that's the only new product of theirs that I tried for the entire year. So let's just say that their stock holding steady. Before I get further in this video, do me a favor. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Go ahead and click that like button. Leave me a comment below. Let me know if you agree with some of these takes or if you think I'm way off. Also, don't forget to check out the Patreon page. Let's go. So I was on a stream with Gentlemen and Whiskey the other day, and somebody mentioned Wilderness Trail. And you know what? That might be the first time that I've heard that brand mentioned anywhere this entire year. In the past, I've generally liked their stuff, especially single barrels, but this year, I feel like it's been crickets. So I'm going to say that their stock falling. So this year, I definitely delved deeper into some of the local brands here in Michigan. New Holland. I finally picked up a bottle of this Dragon's Milk Origin small batch, which I think is excellent. I got to try some of their barrel-proof finished bourbons at an event this summer. All really good. And they just sent me a bottle of their Walleye Run Rye, which I'm super excited to crack. I'm going to say that this brand stock is definitely on the rise. Detroit City Distillery. It's a bit of a dark horse. I tried a few of their finished bourbons this year, and I really liked them both. They've got a few other offerings that I'm definitely interested in trying going forward. I'm going to say that their stock is also rising. The hottest brand in Michigan might just be Evernorth. Since they opened early this year, I've picked up about a dozen of their releases. They've got single barrels of bourbon, rye, light whiskey, wheat whiskey, blends, finished whiskeys. They're doing so many interesting things, and every release that they put out has really been top-notch in my opinion. I'm going to say that their stock is soaring. Now there's a few bigger brands that I didn't buy anything at all from this entire year. First, Woodford Reserve. Just didn't put out anything that I was looking for, so I'm going to say their stock falling. Another one, this might be a bit of a shocker, Buffalo Trace. Honestly, I don't think I saw anything on the shelves here from them this entire year besides regular old Buffalo Trace, so I'm also going to say their stock falling. What about Heaven Hill? Well, I didn't buy quite as many of the Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs or Larceny Barrel Proofs this year. I did pick up some of their select stock bottles from the distillery that I really enjoyed. This sherry finish and this Armagnac finish are exceptional. I'm going to say that their stock is rising slightly. I really got into Ben Holiday this year. I absolutely love both of their standard Rickhouse proof offerings, and I also picked up a couple single barrel picks, and they're absolutely fantastic. Such a huge fan of this brand right now, and I know a few of the guys over there might be watching. Cheers, guys. I'm going to say that your stock soaring. What about Green River? Now, this is a little tricky, and my opinion here is probably not going to be very popular. Before this year, I hadn't tried any of their stuff. This year, I picked up their Budget Rye and the Full Proof Bourbon, which are both very budget friendly. However, don't really like either of them that much. So for me, I'm going to say that their stock falling slightly. Speaking of single barrels, There's few places that put out better and more consistent single barrels than Nashville Barrel Company. I picked up a few of them last year and even more of them this year, and they just continue to impress me. In fact, this might be my absolute favorite flavor profile in whiskey right now. Even though their stock was already high, I'm going to say it's still rising. Another one of my favorite brands since I got into bourbon is New Riff. This year I actually got to go there and pick up some of their distillery only releases, and I've really been impressed. The Silver Groves this year are outstanding, and this sherry finished malted rye is going to be a contender for my rye of the year. So I'm going to say their stock rising. A new brand to me this year is Peerless. While I don't love their rye, I think their bourbon is really good, and this double oak bourbon is fantastic. There's a few bottles that they've got in their lineup that I'm really looking forward to trying soon. I'm going to say for me their stock is rising. A brand that ended last year on a real high note was Penelope. This 9-year was absolutely killer. Now, I don't have any particular explanation for why I didn't seek out any of their 2024 releases, but I just didn't. I am interested to see how some of their 2024 limited releases turn out, but as of right now, I'd say their stock is slightly falling. I feel like Found North may be a bit of a victim of their own success. Their stock absolutely exploded last year, but this year their releases were almost impossible for me to get my hands on, with the exception of this particular single barrel pick, which is outstanding by the way. However, when I went from buying 6 or 7 bottles from them last year to just 1 for this year, even though I've loved everything that they've done so far, I still have to say that their stock is slightly falling. So this next group of brands I'm going to refer to as your blue chippers. Bought stuff from them last year, bought stuff from them this year, probably continue to do so. They're legacy brands and they're always putting out great stuff. I'm referring to Four Roses, Wild Turkey, and Jack Daniels. These brands holding steady. Bardstown Bourbon Company. Between the Origin series that they put out, the Discovery series like this one here, Discovery 12, which is going to be in contention for Bourbon of the Year for me, and the collaborative series picks that they put out this year, they just put out so many bangers. Picked up a handful of bottles from them this year and I'm probably not done. Maybe my favorite distillery of 2024. Got to visit there a couple times, had an absolute blast. Huge fan of this brand right now. I'm going to say their stock is soaring. So there's a handful of brands whose stocks I'm speculating on for 2025. So these are brands where I've tried one of their products, but really nothing else. So I'm interested to see what I can taste next in 2025. I'm talking about Westward. This cask strength single malt is amazing. Middle West Spirits, this Pumpernickel Rye it's really unlike anything else on the market. Pursuit United, this double oak bourbon that they put out is one of the better double oak products out there as far as I'm concerned. Last is Hard Truth. I've got this sweet mash rye, which is fantastic. They've got different malts, different mash bills, all kinds of different things going on over there. They're grain to glass. I'm excited to see what I can try of theirs in 2025. So there you have it, my bourbon brand stock report for 2024. Let me know what you think in the comments below about some of these takes. What were your favorite brands in 2024? Whose stock went up the most for you? Who tanked your portfolio and who held steady? Cheers. Thanks for watching. Stay jerky.